Allison Felix walked away in 2022 with 11 Olympic medals. 7 were gold. She also has 20 World Championship medals, 14 gold. That's 31 medals total. No woman in track history has ever done that. No American man has either. She had nothing left to prove. Every record was already hers. She said she was done. Then, LA got the 2028 Olympics, and everything changed. This is not a sweet comeback story. This is a 40-year-old woman who quit at the very top. She built 2 companies. She joined the IOC. She helped plan these very games. And now she wants to compete in them, at 42, against women in their 20s who never stopped training. When she announced it, the track world stopped cold. Felix was born in LA in 1985, just 45 minutes from the 2028 stadium. She trained at UCLA. This city built her. But in 20 years, she never once competed on home soil. Every Olympics she ran was overseas. She turned pro at 17, straight out of high school. That same year, she made her first World Championships team. Her Olympic debut came at 18 in Athens. She took silver in the 200-meter and set a world junior record. She was still a teenager standing on an Olympic podium. Beijing gave her another silver, plus her first relay gold. Then London 2012, her peak at 26. 3 gold medals in 1 games. She was the best sprinter alive. Rio added 2 more relay golds. Tokyo brought bronze in the 400-meter and gold in the relay. At 35, she became the most decorated American in track history. After Tokyo, she ran 1 final season. Her last race came at the 2022 World Championships. The crowd stood. The moment felt final. I have given everything I have to running, and for the first time, I'm not sure if I have anything left to give. Everyone thought she was finished. She wasn't. She joined the IOC Athletes Commission, then became a full IOC member. She joined the LA 28 committee. She built a shoe company. She co-founded a sports agency with her brother Wes. She stayed close to the sport, just not as a runner. Then, in late 2024, she asked Wes for a formal meeting. That alone was strange. He knew something big was coming. She walked in with slides. He expected business talk. Instead, she dropped the real news. He later said he never could have guessed it. He gave her basically 0 chance of pulling it off. In spring 2026, she went public. She called it Project 6. The goal, a 6th Olympics in LA in 2028. At 42 years old. Her post said it all. What if there's still more in us? She told Time magazine this was a once-in-a-lifetime homecoming. The only thing strong enough to pull her back. That roar from a home crowd, she's heard it for other athletes her whole career, never for herself. She wants to walk into that stadium as a competitor, not a guest. And she wants her kids, Cameron and Trey, to watch her do it. This woman has survived far worse than a comeback. In 2018, at 32 weeks pregnant, she developed severe preeclampsia with 0 warning. She'd been competing while hiding her pregnancy from her sponsor. She was rushed to the hospital. Her daughter arrived 2 months early, just over 3 pounds, by emergency C-section. Cameron spent weeks in the NICU. Felix couldn't even reach her. Her brother didn't know if he was flying in for a birth or a goodbye. 8 months later, she won 2 gold medals at Worlds. That's who she is. The math here is brutal, and she knows it. 5 years out of elite competition by the time trials start. Today's top 400-meter runners are in their early 20s, training nonstop. To make the relay pool, she likely needs a top 8 finish at trials. Full training doesn't even start until October 2026. Her longtime coach, Bobby Kersee, will build the plan. She knows exactly what she's asking of herself. I know at 40, I am not at my peak. I have no illusions about that. She pointed to names like Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Lindsey Vonn, athletes who refuse to let age set the limit. She isn't chasing a medal. She isn't chasing a record. She already owns both. Her words were simple. There's nothing left to prove. This is just an experiment, a test of what's still in her. Allison Felix retired with every record the sport could give her. Then her hometown got the Olympics, and that was reason enough to find out what's left. LA 2028, age 42, 6 games, the roar she's never heard for herself, in the city that made her. That's exactly what she's chasing. Faith Kipyegon just walked away from the race she's dominated for 10 years. Not because she's slower, because she's chasing something bigger, and the sport is still trying to process it. She's 32, born in Nandi County, Kenya, the eighth of 9 kids on a farm with no electricity and no car. To reach her coach, she ran 10 kilometers, some days 30 kilometers before training even began. Her coach called local shops just to make sure she had food. When she won Olympic gold in Rio, her parents couldn't even watch. No electricity. That's where the story starts. She debuted internationally at 16, running barefoot in Poland. A year later, she won junior gold in Spain, then a championship record at the World Youth Championships in France. By the time the world knew her name, she had already been doing this for years. Between 2016 and 2025, she built the most dominant record in women's athletics history. Gold in Rio, Olympic record gold in Tokyo, a third straight Olympic gold in Paris, smashing her own record by nearly 2 seconds. No woman had ever won 3 straight Olympic 1500-meter golds. She made it look easy. 4 world titles followed in 2017, 2022, 2023, and 2025. She missed gold only once, just 15 months after giving birth in 2018. She admitted she was scared. She thought it was the end. It was the beginning. In 2023, she broke 3 world records in one season: the 1500-meter, the mile, and the 5000-meter. Her mile record still stands today as the fastest ever run by a woman. Her 5000-meter record made her the first woman ever to hold both records at once. Months later, she won both titles at the same World Championships. Nobody had ever done that double. She wasn't just the best, she was operating on another level entirely. Then the losses came. Beatrice Chebet beat her in the 5,000-meter at the Paris Olympics. Chebet beat her again in Tokyo, and Ethiopia's Gudaf Sagai broke her 5,000-meter record. For the first time, Kipyegon lost a record she built, but she still won her 1500-meter world title in Tokyo by almost 3 seconds, her biggest margin ever. The 5,000-meter, though, stayed unfinished business. In May 2026, she made her move. She opened her season with the 5,000-meter, not her strongest event, the 1500-meter. She picked the harder race, early in the season. Her words, she wanted to challenge herself and prove she still had more in her. She's coming for Sifan Hassan's record. She's coming for Chebet. She's telling them both, she isn't done, and that's just a 5,000-meter. On July 4th, she's also racing the mile at the Prefontaine Classic. The meet record has stood since 1988. For 38 years. Her world record is over 13 seconds faster than that old mark. She beats that record every single time she runs the mile. That record falls on July 4th. In 2025, Nike staged an unofficial event trying to break the 4-minute mile barrier for women. She ran faster than her own world record, but the shoes weren't approved, so it didn't count. She said simply, she'd proven it was possible. This time, the clock is official. Now the world finds out if she can do it when it actually counts. A 21-year-old football player from a town nobody's heard of just beat an Olympic champion in a sprint. Then he flew overseas for the first time in his life, developed a blood clot the size of a soccer ball, and won the world title anyway. His name is Jordan Anthony, and nobody saw this coming. Anthony grew up in Tylertown, Mississippi, population under 2,000. His dream was football, not sprinting. His father coached football, the sport ran in the family, but college football didn't go as planned. He played at 3 different schools. Every transfer meant starting over. Then, in 2021, his father passed away. Instead of quitting, Anthony pushed forward, and somewhere in that pain, track started calling louder than football. His reasoning was simple. In track, nobody runs at you. Win or lose, it's all on him. That decision changed everything. In 2025, he had one of the best college track seasons ever. He won NCAA titles indoors and outdoors in the same year, something nobody had done since 2017. He ran a wind-aided 9.75 in a qualifying round alone. He won the 100-meter final from the worst lane on the track by just 0.03 seconds. He won the Bowerman Award, track's version of the Heisman. He signed with Adidas and moved to train alongside Noah Lyles, the biggest name in American sprinting. Training next to a world champion daily showed him exactly what he needed to become. By February 2026, he ran the fastest 60 meters in the world that year. But 3 weeks before his biggest test, he lost at the Millrose Games. People said he'd lost his edge. He said he needed a little bit of humbling to remember who he was. Those 2 bad races pushed him back to that dog mentality that made him special in the first place. That is worth remembering. The man who beat an Olympic champion a month later was the same man people had already written off. Before the USATF Indoor Championships, Noah Lyles made it clear nobody was taking his title, and Lyles is no small name. He won Olympic 100-meter gold in Paris, beating his rival by 1 single millisecond. He's won 4 straight world 200-meter titles, 8 world golds total. He came to Staten Island expecting to remind everyone who's boss. In the 60-meter final, Anthony crossed first in 6.45 seconds. A former world champion took second. Lyles finished third, 6/100ths behind. In a 60-meter race, that's not close. Lyles handed Anthony the championship belt right on the track. Cameras caught Anthony quietly wiping his fingerprints off it. The clip went viral. Anthony later said Lyles was just showing his age. He called it an eviction notice. The new generation was taking over. Bold words, but he'd already backed them up. Then Lyles skipped Worlds in Poland for his wedding. Anthony was going alone on his first ever trip outside the US as the world's fastest man that year. Every coach there had already seen his race. He wasn't sneaking up on anyone. Then disaster struck before the final. During mandatory doping testing, the blood draw went wrong. A clot formed in his arm, swelling to the size of a soccer ball. He couldn't fully move that arm, and in sprinting, your arms drive everything. Most athletes would have pulled out. He ran anyway. 6.41 seconds, world champion. On foreign soil, for the first time, with a blood clot hidden in his arm. He walked into 2026 as a former receiver with 0 international experience. He walked out as the best indoor sprinter on the planet. An outdoor season hasn't even started.